This is the last part of the interceptor tutorial. In this part, I'm going to show you how to do the request body and the response body transformation, as well as the header like content type transformation for SOAP to XML. Sorry, to JSON, JSON to XML, XML to JSON. Basically, this is a REST to SOAP transformation. The backend implementation is in SOAP using XML, and the consumer application is using the REST style API using JSON for the request and the response. So first, I'll show you the backend implementation for the request itself and the endpoint. So this is implemented in the PassStore application. If we go to the PassStore application, you can see we have this flower post handler. This is the post handler /v1/flowers. And if you look at the service implementation, we are basically say we receive a request and we return a response body is flower, name poppy, color red, and the petals is 9. This is the XML format of the response. The request for this interface is also XML. So this is basically a SOAP interface. And if you look at this part, you can see when we are doing the response, we are basically like putting the content type as a text /XML. So the response is always text XML. The input for the request also the text XML. We basically check the text XML from the input to make sure like content type is matching. Otherwise, you'll receive this error message if the input is not a text XML. In the response, we also put text XML as a response. You see here, like we are using this media type application XML value, which is a text XML for this value as the response header. So let's first verify this backend API to make sure it's working. Let's access the backend API directly, which is a 9443. No handler defined. Oh, sorry. This is a post request, not get. Let's go to the postman. So in the postman, let's say post XML flowers. So this time I'm posting to the backend API. The PassStore API is 9443/v1/flowers, and I have this body is a XML body, and I'm expecting the return is XML as well. So when I send the request, you can see we got the returns. The return body is XML as well. And you can see the return header is text XML. And also, like when we send the request, our header is text XML in the request. So you can see we have a SOAP API implemented in the PassStore application. It receives XML response request and response in XML as well. So this is the backend API. Now, let's send the request to the gateway. And when we send the request, you can see the request like we sent. We have this structure: flowers, name, poppy, like color red, and petals 9. The corresponding JSON request just like this. You have name poppy, color red, and the petals 9. So basically, this is corresponding like a transformation. It's the same structure, same style, and this, just a simple like object to JSON, JSON to X, and JSON to object, object to XML transformation. Very simple transformation. But in a real business scenario, the structure might be different between XML and the JSON. Also, the data element might be different. You need some additional calculation maybe. Yeah. But in theory, they're all the same, like because the implementation is in the plugin. So let's see we send this request like to 8443 and /v1/flowers, and we are expecting like when we send the request, the header right now is application/JSON. When we send the request, oh, this is the debug is here. I'll just let it go. We got the response here. It's a poppy red 9 is in JSON format. And also, if you look at the header for this response, you can see the header is application/JSON. So basically, we are doing the transformation. We not only transform the request to XML, we also transform the response from XML to JSON. And also, we change the header from JSON to XML before we send to the backend. Also, the response, we change the header from XML to JSON. Let's take a look at the transformer action implementation in the plugin. If you look at this rule folder, we have this JSON XML, and you can see that this is a JSON request we transform to XML. So what we do is this: we got the request body, and we basically just transform this request body to a new request body. The real transformation basically just read this into a flower object using the JSON tool Java POJU. And also, after we got this POJU, which is basically using a write XML mapper, write value is string to get the output, which is XML format for this Java class flower. So this is a very simple transformation. However, between those two lines, you can add a lot more, like in a real scenario. If you can change the structure, and maybe you are going to change from a flower app POJU to some other Java class, and then serialize that Java class into XML. The limitation is just upon your imagination. There will be a lot of different use cases can be covered in this type of transformation. Similarly, like when we do the response transformation, the response comes back as XML. We basically like convert the XML into JSON, similar way using the JSON data format XML mapper and JSON mapper, the JSON object mapper. So with let's take a look at the configuration on the gateway. The configuration here, like if you look at the values.yaml, for this particular transformation, we need both sides, like the request side and the response side. So that's why like we add this path, like /v1/flowers /v1/flower on both the request transformer applied path prefixes and the response transformer applied path prefix. And also we add this into the endpoint rule mapping as well. So for the response transformer, we have this rule. This is the notification rule, and also we have the request path rule. We also add this flower request. So this is called path_store flower request, which is the request transformer. And also on the response side, we add this flower response as well. So those two rules are defined in the rules.yaml. This is the flower request. We check the path, and we call this JSON to XML request transformer rule. And we also, like for the response, we call this XML to JSON response transform rule action. So those two actions I showed you like just a minute ago. In this configuration, we also have those two put into the applied path prefixes. We also have this /v1 flowers in the path prefix service mapping. we map to the pastoral application, which is the backend 9443. Also, you can see we have both request response interceptor defined here to load from a service.yaml. In the handler chain, we define those two interceptor injection handlers, and we put them in the chain, similar like other two transformers. That's it. Thank you.